video. In this video we are going to see how to add pagination to your table. As you can see in the screen, we have a table which has more than 5 rows. So I have split it. If I get in a second pagination, the same 5 rows can be seen. That's true for the third as well. If I click on fourth, there are only one value. Fine. We're going to see how to add pagination. You will get the source code in the description, and we are going to create it with the help of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery. We are not going to use JavaScript. HTML, CSS, jQuery, PHP, MySQL, and AJAX. Fine. Let me show you the database structure first. I have a database called new. Inside the new, I have a table called tbl underscore student, and tbl underscore student has some column. You will get the backup of the database as well. We have 3 columns. The first one is student ID, the second one is student name, and the third one is student phone. Fine, enough with the database. Now let me show you what HTML we have. The data is going to retrieved with the help of Ajax. We don't have much HTML over here. We have just one container and a heading which says pagination, followed by a div which has pagination data. This div would be filled with the help of Ajax. Fine, let me show you the Ajax. I'm going to delete all the everything and start from scratch. Fine, I'm going to create a function, say load data, and this load data will simply load the value to the ID pagination details. Fine, now create array, sorry, Ajax. URL is going to be pg2.php. Method is going to be post. And the data is going to be page x, and this x will be retrieved from the parameter of the function. I'll show you how we'll get the parameter. Now on success, fill the data to the ID, dollar dot html, and inside the HTML we will pass the data on success. Fine. When the page loads, I want the function to get executed, and now we are going to see how to pass x. This x is simply these values. If I click on 1, 1 should be passed. If I click on 2, 2 should be passed. If I click on 3, 3 should be passed, and so on. I'll show you how we'll get 1, 2, 3, but before that I'll show you how to pass these 4 variables to Ajax. I'll show you. You Yeah, I'll show you how we get the pagination value, but before that, we'll see how to pass these value to the function load. Fine. You can see we have span tag. These are filled inside the span tag, and each span tag has an ID 1, 2, 3, and 4, and has a class pagination value. Fine. Now this is where the function ends, and we are going to create a listener. Document dot on. When I click on class the class is of the span tag, which is pagination hyphen sorry underscore value. And the function would be the third parameter, and this function is going to have id. We are going to retrieve the value using the attribute function of the jQuery and store it to a variable called id, and this id I'm going to pass for the function load data. Fine. Let me save and refresh to check whether my code works finely or not. I have refreshed it. There seems to be an error. Now you can see I have added the quotation and everything else, the value is same. Now if you refresh, you'll get the value. Now we are going to see how to fetch data in the pg2.php. Let me remove all the Very first thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the code from the W3 school which will fetch data from database. The username here is root, password here is root, and the database is test here. I'm going to remove all the unwanted code. Select, this is the query we are going to use right now. Select star from our table tbl underscore student. Limit only, I need only 5 values. I need only 5 values starting from 1. So the record per page is 5. So instead of 5, I'm going to use the variable dot record. Fine. We will change the one also, but not now, later in this tutorial. Fine. Again we need a variable which will hold the output. This output will have table tr table row close. This would be name, and the next one would be phone. Student underscore name underscore phone. If we'll check by directly accessing the page, pg2.php, if there is an error, it will show up on line number 17. Yes, we got it. Now we have to pass this as a table. So create a tr td close, again open td, and now close td as well as tr. We're going to store the value inside the variable called output. And finally, close the table. Dot equal to is a concatenation. Close the table and echo the variable. Now you'll get table. On line 27 there is an error. It's simply a semicolon. Fine. Now we need total number of rows in a table. For that, select everything from my table tbl underscore student, and the num rows will show you the total number of records, and I'm going to store it in a variable called total records. With the help of total records, I'm going to divide it with the record per page. So I'll get the number of pages number pages equal to total records divided by record per page. Let me echo number of pages. In this case you will get the pagination value. So there are 16 records. If I divide 16 by 5 you will get 3.2. We need the exact value, so I'll use the ceiling function CEIL. If there is a value called 3.2, it will convert to 4. Fine. Now I'm going to use the for loop, and this for loop will execute or will give you one by one value. For I equal to 0, I $I is greater than equal to number of pages, then $I plus plus. Fine. Now create a span tag. The span tag will have ID, classes, and style. We'll copy it, echo. You can see we have a style, we have a class pagination value, we have added an ID. This ID is simply the for loop value from 1 to 4. Refresh it. Fine. We are getting 0. We need to start the for loop from 1. Yes, everything seems to be working fine. Now the thing is, to listener can be received with dollar underscore post, and the parameter name is page. Fine. If is set, if the value is set, if the value is not set, then make it create a variable called page and initialize to 1. So previously our code was running as 1, so it is 1. Let me refresh it and show you. Now the post is not set. If the post is not set, I made the variable as 1, that's why this is running. Now if the post is set, then save the value of post to the page. This way what happens is, if you click on 1, 1 is passed with the help of Ajax and 1 will be over here. If you pass 2, the 2 would be over here, but that's not going to use. Now we have to convert the pagination to the previously. What we have done here is, we have created the record per page. We have used record per page to get the number of pages. Now we are going to use the opposite of it. So for that, dollar dollar page divided by, multiply by record per page. And store it in a variable called y. And now use the y here. Now this should work. Let me get into the index. On line 15, I think we have missed the colon somewhere. Variable. It is not JavaScript, it is jQuery. Sorry, it is PHP. So instead of variable, we would be using dollar. We have to add class to the table, that's why it is showing up this way. So add class table. I have added bootstrap, so bootstrap will give its classes or style to our table. Fine. Let's see what error we have.